Good morning here from the COP26. We are at the Nordic Pavilion, the Nordic Municipal Pavilion, and we will talk about recirculation of nutrients. And we're going to focus on phosphorus today. We will meet several people from both Denmark, Sweden, but also from Germany. And the focus is how we can create circular loops. Circularity and nutrients, well, it has been on the agenda here at the COP. And especially we have seen also from the movie that was also broadcasted this summer with Sir Richard Attenborough and Professor Johan Rockström, about the 9 planetary boundaries. The film with the name Breaking Boundaries, The Science of Our Planet, highlighted the challenge when it comes to how we can reduce our carbon emissions. But what they stated in the end of the film was the importance of creating circular material loops, not only to reduce the carbon emissions so that we are fulfill the ambitions in the Paris Agreement, but also to make sure that all other planetary boundaries we can avoid to overshoot. So creating circular loops are critical. And one of the most critical one are the phosphorus and the nitrogen cycle. We have past week, the first week at the COP, been focusing on the nitrogen cycle, but today we're focusing on the phosphorus cycle. So therefore, I'm very glad here now to introduce you to the CEO of Easy Mining. Easy Mining is Ragn-Sells innovation company that are developing solutions for a future circular economy, meaning that we will create loops for potassium, nitrogen, and phosphorus. So I hand over directly to the CEO of Easy Mining, Jan Svärd. So please take the stage.
Thank you, Per. Yes, so phosphorus is one of these really key raw materials that exists, and it's really needed. You know, it's part of our DNA, and if we don't eat it, we actually die. So it's a key raw material. But of course, it's also issues. It's not really globally well spread. It's in a few places where the raw material exists in the mines. It also means that, of course, a lot of shipping has to be done. It is because it's evenly used. You know, food production is all over. And if you wouldn't have phosphorus, of course, food production would go down tremendously, and some say even 50%. So very key material, unevenly spread, a lot of shipments, and then to mine it and take it out of the soil and the earth, then it's a very energy-intensive process also to process the phosphorus to final products. And maybe the third one is that when it's mined, it contains several contaminants like cadmium, fluorine, and even uranium. So very important, but very also a perfect match for recycling, of course. And so that's what we have built up. We built up a system we call ash to phos to recycle phosphorus. It's a decontamination process, and it's producing a very, very pure calcium phosphate that is as good as the very best and better than the ones products today on the market for animal feed. And of course, the starting point is that you have a sludge from a wastewater treatment plant. You will hear about this later today. But then it's produced an ash, which concentrates it a bit, takes away organic contaminants, and then we process it further to take away the last pieces of metal and so on. On top of the phosphorus product that is produced in this process, we also take out aluminum, we take out iron that is then reused in wastewater treatment plants, and it's also a sand, a silica sand, that's a very good raw material for cement or even concrete. So that's the background to our project, Per.
And as I understand it also that your solution, and you need to correct me if I'm wrong, you are producing a phosphorus that has a higher quality than any other product that are produced today. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. So we take out 96 to 100% of the contaminants in the ash, and then what's left is this very, very pure calcium phosphate. So better than the best that is on the market today.
Good. We come back to that later. Even if of the best quality in the world, we do have a problem. and here we come to many countries around the world where legislation are dependent on origin and not quality. So it means that if it has been defined as something called waste, then you're not allowed to use that. That's the same situation in Europe, but also in other countries. So the thing is, if we want to really create a circular economy, we need to make sure that quality are the determining factor what is able to be used or not. And I would like to quote the Professor Sutton that was joining our panel this Sunday. He said, "This is a totally crazy." And then he talked about the nitrogen, and because the nitrogen, we have the same thing. If we take the nitrogen from the atmosphere with the incinerated natural gas, and then we can use it. But if we do that from the wastewater and do a huge environmental positive impact, we're not allowed to use it. So something needs to change, and very quickly, because we have huge carbon emissions that are laying on the table that we need to change. So legislation are a key thing. And coming to legislation, we also see that we need to change the perspective, how we see upon wastewater treatment plants. And here we have together at the Swedish Ministry of Industry in Sweden, and together with the Swedish Water, been introducing a new way of thinking where today's linear processes, today's wastewater treatment plants in the future will become resource plants. So therefore I'm very glad also now to introduce to you from Sweden directly the CEO of Swedish Water, Per Dahlheim, that will explain how important he sees that wastewater treatment plant will have a new role in the future. So please, Per, over to you and in Sweden.
For delivering sustainable water services is in a change. And it's not only about the water. A few other mass flows are as large as in the water and sewage sector. For example, Sweden managed flows of 1 billion ton a year, which is 5 times more than mining. However, the sector is in the move and our ambitions are high. I can see 3 strong trends, and that is today's sewage is tomorrow's resources. Today's treatment plants is to be converted to resource plants with production of phosphorus, but also biogas and reuse of nutrients and nitrogen. Today's wastewater is for sure tomorrow's resources for industry and agriculture. So this is an opportunity that has to be taken now. I strongly believe that the water sector holds a number of benefits that goes beyond today's delivery, such as water services, so to speak. The water sector can manage enormous mass flows where to be used and utilized in other sectors. So I believe we, the water sector, do have the potential and the resources to be extracted. And I also believe that you, the industry, innovation, the politicians, the legislators have the tool to facilitate the conditions to make this happen. So I for sure believe we can achieve a circular future today and tomorrow, and the time is now. For example, we need to take obligated quotas for reuse rather than new use. And that concerns phosphorus as well, as you spoken out lately, Per and Jan. Strengthen and facilitate the movement from wastewater treatment plants to resource plants. That includes technology, but also legislation. That's the way to push for a circle and sustainable product design, which also is important to prevent unwanted substance, so to speak, in the wastewater. So let us continue the roads together through this and towards a circular economy. Thank you, Per.
Thank you so much, Per. And what you're talking about is very crucial here. You say that it's much more masses that are running through today's wastewater treatment plant than the mining industry. So what we're talking about is urban mining for real. And this will be resources that will be going on forever. as long as there's human, there will be wastewater treatment plants or resource plants in the next to come. So thank you for that, Per. And I think we'll do like this. We thank you, and we will then welcome from Germany, Christoph Ontid from Gelsenwasser, but also Dines Thornberg from Phos in Copenhagen. And I would like to have your reflections here. So please, if you can do a 3-minute presentation upon what you're doing, and then we will have a discussion here with Jan as well. So please start first, Jo Dines.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Per.
Christoph.
Yeah. I'm just on live. Okay.
Yes, we start with Dines, and then we go for you, Christoph.
Okay.
Thank you, Per. I will just take my 3 minutes, and Christoph can come on. Yes, I would like to talk to you about what we're doing in Phos. First of all, Phos is the utility that treats the wastewater in Copenhagen, about 1.2 million people in Copenhagen. We are treating this in 3 wastewater treatment plants. And we are, of course, very much occupied with the whole circular economy and how we can transfer our plants into this. We are running one very big project supported by the Danish state called Vaga, and you can see that on the internet also, where we are working on several issues of the circular economy. One of them is to extract the phosphorus out of the ash, which we find very interesting, and we follow closely what is going on in easy mining, because that process, the ash to phos process, is also very interesting. We have been removing phosphorus in Phos from the wastewater for many years, since the 90s, when it was first legislated in Denmark, and we have been removing it by precipitation and also biologically. So we are taking the phosphorus into the sludge that is produced in the wastewater treatment plants, and when we have finished with the sludge, so to speak, we incinerate the sludge like they do in many countries south of us, in Germany and in Holland. But we are the only ones in Denmark almost that are incinerating, and in Scandinavia. But we have this, when we had incinerated all this sludge, we end up with the sludge ash. What you see behind me in the photo is one of the piles of sludge ash lying at our treatment plants. We have about 400,000 tons of ash lying in 2 depots at our treatment plants, and this contains somewhere around 10% phosphorus. So it's a very big mine, you could say, a bank of phosphorus. We call it our phosphorus bank. We hope we can withdraw the phosphorus from this bank at one point, for instance, with the technology that the Ash2Phos is. We are producing on the running basis 8,000 tons of ashes every year, and this is the material that's very well suited for a process like Ash2Phos. So we are hoping, we are having a tender right now. We are sort of tendering our ashes to different processes, and we will see what comes on, and I hope that Ash2Phos will be one of the bidders for this task. I think that was about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dines. Then we go to you, Christoph, from Gelsenwasser.
Yeah, thank you very much, Per. Now it works. Thank you a lot. Yes, Gelsenwasser is a public utility company in Germany owned by several cities. The core discussion in Germany in the wastewater system is not the nitrogen. It's are two main topics we do have. It's the fourth cleaning stage, because we try to remove micropollutants or drug residuals, because we have a lot of them in our surface waters, and this is a main discussion or a topic discussion in Germany to build such fourth stages in our water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant. And the second one is the sludge incineration. And Gelsenwasser is not even a wastewater company. It's also, we do drinking water supply, wastewater disposal, and energy supply in numerous cities in Germany. And so by this, the protection of natural resources is a very high priority for us. And that is why we have been campaigning against the spreading of sewage sludge in water protection areas for many years. We welcome the obligation to incinerate sewage sludge in Germany and to recycle phosphorus. This is a rule in Germany that means from 2029 on, we have to do this, to incinerate sewage sludge and recycle phosphorus. in order to reduce soil pollution and protect natural resources. In the Gelsenwasser Group, we have numerous wastewater treatment plants with a total capacity of 4 million population equivalents. And at a very early stage, we look for resource-saving methods to recycle the sewage sludge from these treatment plants. We therefore decide to incinerate the sewage sludge in special plants and to recycle the ash of these plants. And Gelsenwasser is currently building 2 large sewage sludge incineration plants that will go into operation in the next 2 years. And the capacity of this plant is around 500,000 tons per year of dewatered sewage sludge. That means that about 50,000 tons per year of ash are produced to be recycled. So by this, we have searched for a long time and very intensively for a suitable process to recycle phosphorus from ash. And finally, we found the optimal partner in easy mining with the ash to phos process. We are convinced that the ash to phos process is the most suitable one. Therefore, we have entered into a partnership with easy mining and are currently planning the construction of a first plant in Germany. And we will talk about our joint project later in this session. So much for our view in this topic just now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christoph. Yeah, I do have a question about the concept of instead of having wastewater treatment plants, have a concept of understanding that mine shift change, we see that as a valuable resources. Jan Svärd, if you can reflect on both what Per said and both Dines and Christoph, and then we come back with Christoph and Dines to a reflection as well.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to listen to you, and thank you, Christoph, for your patience with the technology. It really worked out well from here, at least now. But no, just to you a little bit, Dines, first. I mean, virtually, you've talked about this for many years now, recycling of nutrients and being more of a resource and a business. What is it that takes a long time for you to develop this concept? What is the hindrances that you really would like to avoid now?
I think there are several barriers that we have to pass. We discuss, and first of all, the legislation in Denmark and other countries is something that is a hindrance. You have to be able to do this. Our economy is quite strict regulated, so we need to prove to our board that it's a good idea to do it anyway, and we can find the money for it. And we need legislation to actually be able to do it. And then, of course, we need to find the market. That's what you are doing in easy mining, to try to find the market for the phosphorus and the silicate sand and so on. So the market is very important for this whole circular economy. That you actually, and you have to discuss whether is it something that has to be profitable, and what is profitable actually in this sense for a company like us. I mean, it costs money to treat wastewater. It has always costed money, and I believe also that the circular economy has to cost something. It's okay that I think the user, if you ask them, they will say it's okay, we pay a little more for the water, even though if we know that it's going into circular economy.
Okay, thank you. And a little bit the same question to you, Christoph. I mean, Germany has a legislation around phosphorus, but is that enough? Do you want more, or what? Is there other hindrances that you see?
The challenge we have just now is that the legal requirement starts in 2029, and to have then big plants to treat to treat the ash and recycle phosphor needs to build the big recycling plants years before. And we are just now at this point that we try to start the first demonstration plant in 2024 to have at the end in 29 a big plant to treat a big mass of this. But just now, the challenge is to get municipalities and incineration plants to pay for this early before the legal requirement starts. If we ask them to pay, and we must say recycling costs money. And more money as it costs without recycling. So if we're asking to pay a little bit more for the recycling just before starting the legal requirements, they say, oh, why should we do this before? Yeah, so this is just now our biggest challenge, and this is what we do just now. But we are convinced we find, and our discussions are very positive that some municipalities will be able to pay this for bringing their ash in our demonstration plant.
And some more progressive companies than except for Biofos and Gelsenwasser. So, Per, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's also a topic of did we start with the egg or with the hen? How did it start? And making sure that we can do it as soon as possible, create circular loops are crucial. Thank you so much, Dinas and Christoph. We will have you back in the end. We'll discuss about the future plans to come. Now we will turn into other source of phosphorus. And here we now go to Denmark, and we will invite both Lotte Wang from Hjørring Municipality, head on the environmental section, but also Allan Olsen. He is the CEO of Green Gas. So please, Lotte and Allan, we have you both on the same screen. That's perfect. You're sitting together. So Lotte, if you start first, what is a municipality? What are your ambitions with the recirculation of nutrients when it comes to poultry, but also from the fish industry? So please, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Per, and thank you for inviting us for this very interesting session. In Hjørring Municipality, we are very preoccupied with the circular economy. We've been working with circular economy for several years, and but in a smaller scale, and we need to do a lot more of that. We are very convinced that the municipalities have an important role in creating circular economy, and let me give you some examples of that. We have different roles, and often we can work as facilitators and matchmakers because we know the companies in our area. Often we are owners of infrastructure, or we have an influence on supply facilities. We can be potential partners, seeing it from a buyer's perspective, and the public sector has a very large budget, and we can use the large budget to accelerate circular economy if we want to. Then there can be political aspects or challenges with legislation, and we can play a role there as well. In the linear economy, we sometimes forget that public and private sector, that there are very strong bonds between them. But in the circular economy, I think that really reminds us that we need to solve things together. In this phosphorus case, we are co-owners of a waste incineration plant. And when we're working on circular economy, there will be less waste for the incineration plant. And if we can succeed in converting the plant into important infrastructure in the circular economy, I think we'll have solved more than one problem. So I totally agree with you, Per, when you say these treatment plants should be resource plants in the future. Another role is that there are legislation challenges. You already mentioned that when you talked about Schulstrach. And at the moment, we're working together with the university, our local university, and several ministries to find ways forward. And then in Hjørring, we are a food and farming municipality, and the agricultural sector needs to be part of the solution. We have a lot that we would like to do with the farmers in partnership, and the potential is enormous if we can do it together.
Thank you so much, Lotte. I must say that I met many people within municipalities around the world, and many have a really high energy, but you are one of the ones that has most energy of all, so I really like your passion for creating those circular loops. We turn now to Allan Olesen, and you will also have a PowerPoint and present the background to the Nordic, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark in collaboration. So please go ahead, Allan.
That's correct. Will you show the presentation, Per?
Yeah.
Thank you. So first of all, again, thank you for letting us participate in this session. I will represent the project partners in this collaboration. And the project partners are Rangsells, a Norwegian company, Easy Mining, where Jan has already presented their technology. We are then AVV, which is a waste treatment plant in Hjørring Municipality. We work together with Denhatch, where they produce poultry. I represent Green Gas or Grøn Gas, and we own and operate 2 biogas plants in the northern part of Jutland. We then have the local farmers represented by Asdal Hovedgård. And we have Biomass, which is a company part owned by Grøn Gas, and they work within sourcing of biomasses to biogas plants in Denmark. In a broad perspective, they source around 35 Danish biogas plants with biomasses. We then have Hjørring Kommune, or Hjørring Municipality, and we have a lot of universities and consultants working within the project as well to do the documentation on the project and the technology that we test. So we have the University of Aalborg, the University of Copenhagen, Institute of Technology, and SEGES, which is an agricultural research and development company. Could you show the next slide? Thank you. So this is actually the circular economy, or the circular economy in our project. And if we start in the top right corner, you can see the beginning of the source or the resources, where we have both aquaculture and agriculture, and we have the leftovers from production from agriculture and agriculture, which is what we use in the biogas industry. The slurry from both of these productions we can then put into the biogas plant, where we can produce energy from the resources or from the leftovers. And when we collect all of these biomasses, we can then, the degas slurry that we have as a leftover from the biogas plant, we are able to extract fibers, slurry fibers from this degas slurry. And we can take these fibers and transport them to AVV, who can then incinerate them, whereas, as we've heard from other projects where you do waste treatments, we then incinerate the slurry fibers and end up with ashes that we can send to Easy Mining, who can then extract phosphorus from the ashes. And the phosphate sources from Easy Mining can then be built into the feed industry or be used in animal feeds again, where we then close the circle. So it's a full-on circular economy. Could you show the next one? Yes. Just skip that one. We'll just take the next one. Yeah. So why are we in this, or a part in this project? Well, as a biogas plant, on one side, it is to secure our biomasses for growth in the biogas industry in Denmark. And in doing so, we also help solve a resource or a waste problem in Norwegian agriculture. On the other side, it is to try and help to solve a global challenge related to phosphate or phosphorus. And we aim to recycle large amount of phosphate for feed usage. And in doing so, to decrease the surplus of phosphate in Danish agriculture, where we use the phosphate for crops. So our goal is overall to recycle phosphate from well-known agri and aquaculture sources, both in Denmark and in Norway, and reuse it for feed, which is the highest quality you can use phosphate in a resource mindset. So the results so far has been very promising, and they've shown that the combined value chain and the technology used really has the potential to be part of the future solution to recycle phosphate. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you so much. This interesting project means that we can recirculate phosphorus from sources in Norway, from sources in Denmark, and then transport it to Helsingborg. And that's the sort of southern part of Sweden where we will build our first plant. We will come back to that, and because I would like now to introduce the Minister of Agriculture from Denmark, it's Rasmus Prehn, that will do a statement where he talks about the importance of closing nutrient loops. So please, Minister, from the pre-recorded video.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on why I believe that your session on phosphorus is an important and urgent matter. Phosphorus is an essential building block for life. Phosphorus is at the same time a scarce resource as an input for farming. But it is also a potential source of pollution. It is therefore absolutely crucial for the green transition that we manage to recycle valuable resources like phosphorus. We live in a world where 2 billion people do not have regular access to safe, nutritious and sufficient food. At the same time, we have to reduce the impact of our food systems on the climate, the environment and biodiversity. Sustainable use of phosphorus is one of the key challenges for the global food system. We need a wide range of actions to tackle the challenges that we face. And we need a wide range of stakeholders, public and private, to take action now. The challenges of the food system differ from country to country. In Denmark, we have a surplus of nutrients such as phosphorus, but it is not always available and often in a poor quality. I am very interested in exploring the opportunities of advanced technologies. Also when it comes to recycling phosphorus. It is with great interest that I have been following the initiatives taken by the Municipality of Hjørring and other Nordic stakeholders. I believe their ambitions are great, and I am extremely grateful that you take the time and effort to explore these opportunities further. But there are challenges. Let me give an example. The use of waste material is heavily regulated within the EU. This is for a good reason. We must not compromise food safety and the health of animals and humans. But we also have the obligation to strive towards a more sustainable use of resources. Therefore, we must take the opportunities that new technologies provide. If it is possible to recirculate phosphorus in a sufficiently high quality, then we must ask ourselves if we can afford not to explore this opportunity further. There are no easy solutions. Therefore, let us collaborate to turn this global challenge into an opportunity for ourselves and for the generations to come. With these words, I wish you a very fruitful session on this very important matter. I look forward to hearing about your conclusions and the actions that you recommend. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, dear Minister. Strong words, and we really like to work together with you and with the Norwegian counterpart and with the Swedish counterpart, because this is really a Nordic mission that we are on to. But not just Nordic, because we talk about hundreds of places around the world where we have the same situation, meaning that we are facing challenges when nutrients are leaking out into the oceans. I think that Professor Rockström mentioned maybe hundreds of places around the world. So this can be an example for how we can do it in many places and make sure that we can really create circular loops that also are causing positive impacts for other parts in the other environment. Let's now go back to the plants in itself, and here I would like to now invite a new speaker and an old speaker. We will also, of course, bring back Christoph Ontyd from Gelsenwasser, but also the CEO of Kemira in Helsingborg, Mr. Peter Kihlgren. So, Peter, you will also have your 3 minutes to explain what is Kemira and why are Helsingborg as such a good place for phosphorus plants from Easy Mining.
Thank you very much for the introduction and for letting me having my 3 minutes here. Kemira is a global leader in the sustainable chemical solutions for the water-intensive industry, and this also includes circular economy and industrial symbiosis in many aspects. I just want to like to state to you all that Kemira is committed to the UN global targets in terms of sustainability, and this is of course part of our entire business. Not only the primary business in producing and offering chemical solutions to our customers, but also in utilizing our own resources in a very, let's say, clever way, sharing what we can share. And I would like to just quote one of our sustainability slides from a very early presentation we had internally, saying that the growing global population and the scarcity of resources we need to increase the demand of doing more with less. And I think this is exactly what it is for us. We're not part of the actual phosphorus recovery, but we would offer our site, our ability to erect such a plant with a focus on circular economy and industrial symbiosis. This is nothing new to us. We have been doing this long before these words were used in this context, but not the least by providing energy, CO2-free energy to the city of Helsingborg as district heating. About 40% comes from recovered energy, and this is what we are good at the site. We have excess amounts of utilities, of energy. We have an infrastructure that is really good for this purpose. And we, of course, also have many of the chemicals needed for this process, which could be provided in a pipeline to a plant like this. Furthermore, the excellence may be a bit of luck, but still a way of the discussion we've had with the Easy Mining is, of course, we have a process building that which is no longer in use and which could be used for this purpose. So this is a very good example of how we can do more with less. And this is what we all are talking about. This is a side effect, in my opinion, because the primary purpose for the plant erected by Easy Mining, which will be erected by Easy Mining, is of course this phosphorus recovery. But adding all these other advantages, I think this could be a very good example how we can do good for the planet and also contribute to the sustainability development. And I would like to say that the industry is very much the enabler here. We have the solutions. We need the support of politics. We need the support of the legislation. We need the support from very many places to make this movement move as quick as possible. I will stop there. So thank you very much for my 3 minutes.
Thank you. We are now in the environmental permit process for both sites, both in Helsingborg and also in Germany in the partnership with Gelsenwasser. And of course, this is a very important thing. We heard the Minister of Agriculture, Freya from Denmark, say that this is really something that is crucial. When it comes to Helsingborg, that is extra important, and we can really make it happen as well. But I would like you to elaborate on that. What is now the process, and what is the important when it comes to creating those partnerships? Because that, I think, is a key question going forward. And Jan, if you would like to start.
Yeah, I agree. Partnerships are extremely important here, and if you looked before on the list of the Danish initiative that goes to Norway and to Sweden, this is a long list of partners that you need to have. And the same goes for all of these projects. And Kemira was not even mentioned on that list, so it should maybe be.
I can live with it.
And I think that goes for circular economy. I always say that this is the fun and the complicated part with circular economy, because you need to be expert in so many things. Before it was a straight line and you needed to take your part of it. Now you're part of a circle, much more complicated, also much more fun. But you really need to have partners that you can collaborate with.
Okay, Christoph, what is your view both on when it comes to what Peter has said, but also Jan when it comes to partnership, and of course the process now for setting up the first plant also in partnership with you?
From our view, I can say it's very important at first to get the optimal partner for the technology, because it only works if you have a good process. And we think this is, we did at first, that we are just now partners, Easy Mining and Gelsenwasser in Germany. And the second one is, of course, we need a lot of partners. At first, we need partners which sell us their, or give us their ash and give money for this. Yeah, I talked about it earlier in this session. The second one is about the products. We need a lot of partners. There are a lot of products of this very good ash to phos process. But to get this very high recycling quote of more than 95%, we need several partners, recipients of the product. And this is the challenge we do just right now, to get a lot of them. And we had a very good discussions. I think we find recipients for these products. We discuss with the concrete industry about the sand which comes out of the process, and the concrete industry in Germany, and I can say worldwide, is just now on the way to reduce the CO2, and they must change their processes. They need very much high energy to produce concrete, so they are very interested to get some green products to save CO2. So there are a lot of opportunities in this discussion, and I'm looking forward that we get the partners we need to start this process in Germany.
Christoph, you're talking about the silica. And the thing is that we are not just extracting phosphorus with our process. We can separate all things that are in the ash after incineration. And the silica, we have worked with the Technical University of Copenhagen, and we have proven that it can be possible to replace cement in concrete production. And here we talk, of course, about also a huge carbon saver as well. But to be honest, we can recirculate almost everything. There's just 0.7% that are the heavy metals that we also now have been started to discuss with how we can separate those with a huge metal company that really are good in separating them. And then we have the copper, of course, that can be brought back. So this is an example of a true circular process that will be crucial going forward. Any last comments from you, Jan, before we take in the politicians to comment?
No, I think it's encouraging. And then, of course, as you say, this infrastructure, its products, and its process. So we need all the different parts of the cycle.
Any last comments from Peter or Christoph? We start with you, Peter.
I totally agree with everything was said, and I think that the Danish minister said something that is very important. I think that he said that we have an obligation to do something, and I think this is something that all the stakeholders need to keep in mind, even the legislators and everybody in the system. So if we keep that in mind, I think we can make things happen.
I give the last word to you, Christoph.
What just very, very positive is just in this moment is the discussion with the authorities. We are just now in the permit discussions, and it seems to be very easy. The authorities are very open to give us the permission for building this plant, and this is very positive, I think.
So you in Sweden, listen what's happening in Germany. It's very easy to get the permits. Looking forward. Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you so much, Christoph. And now we will turn to Helsingborg and Jan Björklund. You are the deputy mayor of the city of Helsingborg, and in Italy they used to say that all roads turns to Rome, but now it looks like all roads seems to turn to Helsingborg instead. So I would like to have your comments and why is it important for the city?
I'm sorry, I have a vocal cord inflammation, and I have sent a message in the chat to Andrea, so perhaps it can read up my message.
We will check if we can read it up. We do like that then. We start first with make sure that we have possible to have it being read up from the deputy mayor. So we start with Emma Weissner. She is the member of the European Parliament in Brussels, and she is member. She is representing Sweden, or she's representing herself there, but she is from Sweden. So Emma Weissner, you are not here, but we have pre-recorded you from this stage. You are speaking from the Nordic Municipal Council stage. So please, Emma, start first.
Evident that we're moving away from a linear economy into a circular economy, meaning we have to close all the loops that we can and really make sure that we're moving away from linear policies and linear systems and linear way of thinking and linear industrial logic going into circular. And that means that more and more facilities will become recycling facilities, and also moving away from waste as a concept rather being a resource. So I think that is what's going on right now, the industrial transformation that we are in the middle of, going away from linear, going into circular. When it comes to circulation of nutrients, I think it's absolutely critical, not only from an agriculture point of view, it's from a soil point of view, from industrial, a resource management point of view. We need to be better at circulating all our nutrients for healthy ecosystems, healthy soils, healthy earth and grounds, but also, taking care of all the resources that we have that is today traditional waste, now becoming more and more resources and the higher value. I think it's amazing how we can push from a Swedish perspective on research and innovation. We have the economic muscles and the possibilities and the companies and the level of innovation needed in order to really be front runners when it comes to research and innovation. And I think from a circular economy point of view, we should go even faster, run even faster in the front to change and drive a circular transformation.
Thank you so much, Emma. And I think we'll now bring up Jani again on the picture, but I will read. We met here for, I think it was a month ago, and then it was really very inspiring to meet you and also the county, the county of Skåne. So I will read now directly what you have written. For Helsingborg, this is an important investment. It is important that we are at the forefront of innovative solutions for climate change and the continued investment in new industrialization of Sweden. And I agree, you will be on the forefront with this investment because the world are looking on how to recirculate nutrients. So with that, thank you so much, Jan, and I wish you a nice recovery, and thank you for participating anyhow. So by that, we will now end from the stage of the Nordic Ministers' Council. But I would like to, of course, have some words with you, Jan. What do you say about this session and what you have heard?
Yeah, I think the Danish minister was very inspiring. I think he said the right things. What you really have to remember that phosphorus is a finite raw material. So you take it up from the ground and earth, and then you spread it away and waste it. And it will be so diluted so it can never be recovered if you don't have a purposely built recovery system. I think this is maybe the key learning that this has to be built up, and maybe even before all legislation is in place. So companies, I think, that doesn't wait until in 2029 in Germany, or actually start earlier like Gelsenwasser, they will have a heads up and a earlier start, and the same with Biofos that we saw here.
Ragn-Sells is a company. We were founded or originated from 140 years back. We have transformed several times, changing direction somehow, but in the core of the company has always been agriculture, the land. Phosphorus was something that we started with already back in 1881. Then we brought back latrines, and then it was the horses that did the work. Now we are on the forefront to make it possible not just locally, but globally. So this innovation has a global potential for the future. 2024, you talk about the two first factories, one in Sweden and one in Denmark, but then all mega cities around the world will face the same problem. So if you're interested, Easy Mining works with urban mining and making sure that resources can be used over and over again. So please contact us if you want to have any more questions. We'll definitely be able to answer it to you. And over and out here from Glasgow and the Nordic Ministers Council stage. Thank you so much, Jon, and thank you so much, viewers here at Glasgow, and thank you so much, your viewers online also.
Thank you very much.